guys? This is Lindsay Barnett with Cultured Misfits, and I am rolling out.
All right, hello everyone. This is C. Alexandra with Rolling Out, and this is a design and dialogue conversation. I'm here with Lindsay today. She's the owner of Cultured Misfits, and yeah, she's going to tell us just all about her company and how she does it, how she makes it happen. So, how are you doing today?
Doing great, doing great. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. So I guess we can start here for the people that don't know. Where are you from, and how did you get started in like fashion design?
Yeah, so I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and I have kind of a non-traditional background. Went to school for marketing. I spent the last almost 10 years of my professional career in media and sports, specifically in social media. But always had kind of this creative eye. I took a couple of graphic design classes over the years and that sort of thing. But really got drawn to kind of the expression that can be shown through fashion and through clothing, how you can kind of express your self identity, how you can kind of form it and change it, depending on how you feel or the time that you're in, or over the years. So I was really drawn to it just from the ability to kind of self express through what you wear and how you present yourself to the world every day.
I love that. Now the name Culture Misfits,
Yeah.
very creative, makes you kind of like your ears perk up. Like, what does that mean? Can you tell us, how did you come up with the name of the brand?
Yeah, I mean, I was inspired by a group of friends I had while I was in college. I would identify us as cultured misfits, and in that meaning, we were a unique group. If you kind of had looked at us, we didn't look like we should all be friends. It was different backgrounds and races and religions and belief systems. But we would meet and kind of hang out, regularly and have these really in-depth conversations with one another just about life and challenges we've been through, things we've gone through, travel experiences we've had. And so like I always was like, oh man, we're a weird group. We're a bunch of misfits, but we're taking the time to culture one another, as in like learning about our own cultures, but it was never in jeopardy of making you feel less than or that who you are wasn't meant to be. It was just in, learning and experiencing one another. And so I was like, we're a bunch of cultured misfits. Like we're taking it all in stride. We're being true to ourselves the entire time. But we're not afraid to learn about one another. And then now that I know more about them or any person that I come across, I can have more sympathy and empathy towards people and their experiences based on that. And to me, that's kind of what unites us. Like we're more alike than we are different, even if we don't always agree. And so I kind of coined the term cultured misfit, and decided to build this lifestyle brand around it.
I love that. Very interesting story. I can agree with that. I have like a group of friends where it's like, how we become friends, but
Yeah.
it works, right? So I guess, to your point, you said, I guess, well, let's start here because you said you started in marketing.
Yeah.
So let's dive a little deeper. Like, what made you, I guess, change career paths in a sense? Like, when did you know, like, I'd rather just have my own business and work for myself? Because, that's kind of
A
not
big
everyone likes to do that. So tell us, tell us how that happened.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in marketing and honestly fallen in love with branding, like even since I was a kid and knew what I wanted to do. Like telling stories through brands, connecting people through brands is something that I'm passionate about. I find it super interesting, whether it's like the sociology of it all or the actual business side. And so when, again, having the idea for the brand and kind of bringing it together and realizing that other people are resonating with the message that we were telling, it that's what gave me the courage to step out. Like I had a customer come up and really share how our brand messaging resonated with them. And to the point to where she was like, my kid's in high school and I need him to know about your brand. I need him to know that he doesn't have to walk alone, that even though he's different and may not feel like he fits in, it's okay for him to kind of wear something and be able to go into school as a badge of honor. And like knowing and hearing that story was like, oh man, people are really resonating with this. This is why I created it for myself, was for my own, self identity, my own creativity, to self version of self creative expression. And so I was ready to make that jump. And, I've had that corporate career for a really long time and only just recently have branched out to do this full time. Just because the demand was so high. It was time. We've been seen from some really notable people. We've been able to get our brand and grow it kind of organically and grassroots style over the last few years. But now it's really time to take it from being this small business to trying to make it into something huge. And it needed my time and attention in order to do that.
That makes perfect sense. We're definitely going to dive deeper into the impacts that it has, created. But I want to know the design process. Now, take a step by step. A lot of people, I think when they think of t-shirts or like, sweatshirts, things of that nature with like a brand or label on it or logo, excuse me, they may not realize how much goes into it. And of course, I know a little bit, like I know you can do a drop shipping. Some people choose to do it themselves. So can you take us step by step with like your process, or do you have different ways you go about it? Tell us.
Yeah, it's different for each piece. So when I first started, it was definitely more in your normal screen printing or DTG, so direct to garment style. It was mainly t-shirts. It was taking a blank that already exists and putting our logo or design on it. Like I mentioned before, I'm not your traditional design or fashion student. I didn't go and study for that specifically. I'm very self-taught. Everything from my Photoshop and Illustrator to the process of what it means to talk to a manufacturer and explain kind of your vision to get it to the final product. Has all been both trial and error, learning from YouTube, university and figuring it out along the way. But we kind of branched off into doing what is cut and sew. So making something that's completely original, me identifying how I wanted it to fit, the cut of the material, the type of material itself, selecting those fabrics, working directly with the manufacturer. So most of our things that we put out probably in the last 3 years and on have been fully cut and sew, similar to like what I'm wearing right now. It's 100%, it's still your typical, whether it's a windbreaker or a bomber jacket or a t-shirt or a crew neck, but it is something that is designed specifically to the Kultured Misfits brand, and that, our pattern that we go about in making it is unique to us and could mimic similar other brands and styles, but it has its own elements that we've made sure are true to us. And then it's, kind of wherever your mind can take you, like creative wise. I've got people on my team who shoot for the moon, and we have to reel back in to be like, okay, is this us, or are we trying to make a one of one? Or are we trying to do something that speaks directly to the brand and to our audience enough to where it will sell? Like at the end of the day, we are a business. We are trying to make that sale, but keeping the creativity, whether that's through colors, through fabric choices, through the designs themselves, super important for us to kind of explore all of those elements to make the ultimate design for us.
I love it. Now you mentioned team.
Yeah.
How tell us, especially like fashion designers or aspiring fashion designers that may be watching this, how important is it for you to utilize your team or even sometimes outsource? Because I think a lot of people don't realize like it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to, not try to do it all yourself. So tell us more about that if you don't mind.
Yeah, I've had to learn that the hard way, to be honest. Like I'm a self-starter. I'm gonna do everything, and just because the brand itself is my baby, it's my vision, so it can be really hard to delegate sometimes. But I've been blessed to have groups of friends over the years that have come in and been like, hey, we're here to add value to what you do. We're here to help, and then eventually that has turned into like a full force team that we're working with. And it's important to have people with different expertise than you. That's been the biggest learning for me. It's like, though I do the design and I do have a business mind and have my degree and all of those things, people on my team also have all of those things as well, and then they are able to specialize in the operations, so that's the actual supply management and the shipping, as opposed to the actual design itself. Again, I have someone who's ear to the ground to streetwear and to what we do, and is constantly looking at trends, seeing what our competition is doing, but also like bringing that creative energy. And then you have to have your basics of your lawyer and accountant and all of those things to make sure that your business is taken care of properly. And I think that's the biggest step that people usually skip over. They rush into the creative process and let's just get the product out. But then, once that product does well, you're at risk. And so you have to bring it all back in and make sure that you're protected as often as you can. So having the team who can help me focus on specific areas that are within my expertise, so that marketing, that social, that design, but then being able to rely on my trusted team to handle the other parts of the business is super important.
Yes. I'm so glad you mentioned that part is important, guys. It's great to be a creative, but if you don't, protect yourself, what is it all for, right?
Exactly.
Well, tell us as a designer and a business owner, how have you, I'll say this, how important is it for you to know your audience? And can you tell us who your audience is, if you don't mind?
Yeah, so it's super important just because, though we all want to be everything to everyone from a business side, it's not helpful, it's not strategic, and you can end up spending a lot of money in trying to cater to everyone's needs. And so, though you hope to have new audiences discover your brand and find things that they like about it, it's super important to have that kind of target market that you're going after. For us, it's that kind of 18 to 35-year-old male and female, because a lot of our clothes are unisex. We're developing a kids line and a women's line coming soon, but so far the last few years has been mainly unisex pieces. But it's that creative, it's the self-starter, it's the one who identifies as being a little bit unique and a little awkward sometimes, but is okay with it and embraces it. Has an appreciation for streetwear, just comfort clothes, as another way to say it, but wants to kind of tell their story through the clothes that they put on every day and through the things that they do. So it's whether you're adding a piece of ours to your collection and that's becoming a part of your style, or our piece is the center point of your style, it's up to you. But the person who likes to kind of tell their story through their clothing, who identifies with our never meant to fit in brand mantra, and can incorporate that into what they do every day is our target.
I love it. Now, do you have any tips for aspiring fashion designers, business owners? How can they, because I would say there's no such thing as a saturated market. Well, there is, but you can still stand out in a saturated
Right.
market.
Exactly.
So can you give them some tips on how they can stay true to themselves and stand out, regardless of how the market's looking?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest learning for us is just like knowing, like you said before, who your audience is, but also like why you, like what makes you stand out. Again, we all have a story to tell. We're all kind of solving a need or a problem within our business, or with our business. And so once you're able to identify what that is, it's a lot easier to kind of find who you're looking for and tell your story and reach that audience. Second thing is just be consistent. I think the biggest thing for us, like again, we're going on 8 years within a few days. March 4th is our anniversary. And consistency has been the thing that's kept us alive. We haven't always won. We haven't always made the sales that we wanted, but we have stayed, the true test of time and been here, and different opportunities have come up. People have acknowledged who we are. And through that, like third thing would be like your branding. Like I said, I'm obsessed with branding, and the story that you tell, how you present yourself out to the world matters. And even when I didn't think it mattered, even when I would get caught up on the financial implications of being ourselves and being our brand and developing that brand, we've come to find out people have been watching us for years and been able to see what we're doing and see the story we're building, the brand we're telling, making sure that quality is a focal point of our brand. I think a big thing, especially in Black businesses, like we can get that stigma of either customer service isn't where it needs to be or the quality of the product, some element that we're always missing. And so like we've made sure to hone in on those elements and make sure that we kind of buck that stereotype as often as we can, and delivering really professional quality service, and it's not gone unnoticed. So that's my biggest advice to any small business owner, especially on the fashion design side. Like take your time. The things that you do, the vision that you have is there. You're the creative. You already got that part taken care of. Now make sure you hone in on the business side of things, making sure you're protected, like I said before, but making sure that you're delivering something quality and of value to your customer each and every touch point.
I love it. Now, before we get into the impact, how do you choose your colors? Like, are you inspired by like holidays, different pieces of art you see? Like, what is your inspiration behind the
Yeah.
colors and the vibe of the that.
Yeah, it's a mix of everything from the super technical, looking at, fashion week colors of the, forthcoming colors of the year, the forecasting that they do online, all the way to, like you said, it's I walk around, I travel as much as I can. I experience art galleries and art shows and things of my culture and of my people to find that inspiration. And it can literally come from anywhere. I'm also TV junkie. Like I am obsessed with learning about the stories of people and using that to help tell our story, identity, seeing someone else's experience that may be different from mine, but still falls under the cultured misfit kind of mantra, and figuring out how do we incorporate that. And that comes even from the fabrics and colors, to whether it's, doing something that is specific to HBCU. Like a lot of people say this looks very much like FAMU of what I'm wearing right now. Again, it's all intentional. It's very, I did not go to an HBCU, but I do understand the impact and what it does for our community. And so finding ways to help tell stories and even subliminal ways, is using colors, fonts, fabrics, the whole nine, are able to really articulate that in a really cool way.
I love it. Now, tell us who has worn your gear, I guess you could say, and can you share, I guess, some tips on how people can have other people wear their, I don't know why I can't talk today, their merchandise. Oh my goodness.
Okay, I get
Got
it.
it out. There we go.
Our most notable and the one that we probably get the most comments on is Shaq. Shaquille O'Neal has been wearing our stuff. We had the opportunity to be on the show with him this time last year, aired February 17th of last year on TNT. And throughout that experience, it was been, it was really cool to work directly with him. He's been a huge fan of our gear and has requested stuff in his size, which is, no small feat to say the least, but it's really exciting that he rocks with us that hard and continuously wears and reps our brand. We've had the pleasure of working with Tabitha Brown, which has been amazing. I'm a huge fan. Her come up over the last few years and the stories that she tells and the way that she communicates with her audience, our community, has been amazing. Gail Bean is another one, star from P Valley, and Snowfall has been amazing. Again, great people that we've worked with. So we do our kind of celebrity bag drops. For us, it's pulling up wherever we can, finding those people who we think would resonate with our brand. But honestly, it's realizing that like tools like Instagram are super powerful. Reaching out, you have to be okay with rejection. Sometimes you don't get that yes that you're looking for, but sometimes you do. You get that authentic connection, people who are willing to hear you out, check out your brand, sending them a quick gift just so that they can experience you firsthand, and then seeing where the conversation and relationship can go from there.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. Just to wrap up, can you tell us what's next for you all? What should we be on the lookout for? And also, where can we keep up with you all?
Yeah, so for us up next, we've spring collection and a fall collection coming out this year. So spring, summer, launching in the next month and a half, and then fall, be on the lookout in that early October, September-ish timeframe. You can follow us at kultured.misfits. Kultured is spelled with a K, Kultured, Misfits, MISFITS, and in the same kulturedmisfits.com if you want to shop with us. We hope you do.
All right. Well, this is awesome. Thank you so much for talking to Rolling Out. And yeah, we'll definitely support you.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity, and great talking to you guys as always.